Welcome, everyone, to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping into something that's, well, it's everywhere generative AI. For so many businesses, for individuals too, it holds this amazing promise, right? Like AI driven insights, incredible efficiency, innovation. It really feels like the future's kind of already here, doesn't it?
Oh,
But
yeah.
okay, here's where it gets really interesting. What if this rush, this like headlong dive into AI, what if it's actually messing up the very thing it needs most? I mean, trusted data.
That's not just interesting, it's probably the critical question right now. And it takes us straight to our topic for this deep dive. This really worrying crisis of confidence in the data that's feeding these AI systems. And look, this isn't just a vibe, it's spelled out pretty clearly in a new report. It's from DataPro.News called Has the Rise of Generative AI Caused a Deterioration in Data Trust? All right. Samuel Williams wrote it, just came out June 18th, 2025. And it really highlights some, frankly, alarming patterns showing up in enterprise data teams. Yeah, the numbers themselves are pretty stark. Get this, in just 1 year, 12 months, the share of organizations saying they have complete distrust in their decision-making data. It jumped from 55% to 67%.
Wow,
That's a
66.
12 percentage point jump. Huge. And what's really telling is this isn't just an internal company thing. You look at the bigger picture, like the Edelman Trust Barometer. It shows a 3-point drop in overall trust and information globally over the last year. So it suggests, there are bigger forces at play here. It's not isolated.
Okay, right. So let's unpack this. Our mission then for this deep dive is pretty clear. We need to dig into why this data trust is eroding so fast. We'll look at the consequences, the implications, and crucially, what can actually be done about it by organizations, by data pros. We're going to pull out the key insights from this report to help you really grasp what's going on and, well, what it means for AI going forward. So digging into these findings, one thing that really jumps out is this idea the report calls the quality paradox. Can you break that down? What exactly is this paradox, and why is it so important for businesses to get?
Absolutely. The quality paradox is this really ironic situation. Generative AI, it demands really high quality data, often, even better quality than your standard analytics needed. But the very act of rolling it out widely is actually exposing all the existing data quality problems, sometimes making them worse. Think about when these AI systems confidently spit out wrong information, those hallucinations we hear about. It doesn't just make you doubt the AI, does it? It makes you question the entire data setup behind it. So
Yeah.
the big takeaway for businesses is you can't just throw Gen AI at messy data hoping it'll fix it. It actually forces you to get your data house in order first. It demands it. So the paradox isn't just some tech quirk. It's a strategic red flag, really. AI makes bad data problems much, much worse. Clean data is table stakes now.
That makes total sense. It's like wanting a sparkling clean floor, but finding out your fancy new mop just pushes the dirt into the corners, and,
That's
and
it.
it forces you to finally fix the leaky pipe that caused the mess. And it sounds like it's not just about the data itself, but managing it. The report mentions a governance crisis, too.
Exactly. Spot on. This governance crisis is like the direct result of that paradox.
Right.
Data governance, managing data rules, access, quality, it's suddenly become the biggest hurdle for AI projects. The number of companies calling governance their top data integrity problem, it shot up from 27%
27.
to 51%. That's nearly double, an 89% increase.
Yeah.
It basically tells us that the old ways of managing data just aren't cutting it for AI. They're breaking. AI needs things like knowing exactly where data came from, lineage tracking. It needs strict quality checks, compliance rules, stuff many places just don't have built out properly yet. I mean, put simply, if you don't know your data's history and reliability, how can you possibly trust what the AI does with it?
You can't.
And making it worse. Almost half, 49% of data teams say they don't even have the right tools to automate data quality checks, which is kind of essential when you're dealing with the massive data sets AI needs.
So, okay, it's a quality mess, and the management systems are cracking under the strain, but what about the people involved? The report talks about skills gaps and a big human factor in all this
Oh,
mistrust.
definitely. The skills gap is real. 60%, 60 of organizations say not having enough AI skills and training is holding back their AI plans.
60%.
Yeah. So you've got this situation where data teams are pushed to support these super complex AI things, but maybe without fully grasping the unique data demands. It's like, I don't know, asking someone to build a spaceship with duct tape, and then management wonders why it's not taking off.
Good analogy.
But beyond just the technical skills, there's this huge human element, right? Research looked at nearly 6,000 knowledge workers globally, found that 54%, over half of the people using AI, don't trust the data it was trained on.
That's not good.
Not good at all. And maybe even more worrying, 71% say if an AI consistently gives bad outputs, it would permanently break their trust in it.
Permanently.
Yeah. And you can feel the frustration from the data folks, right? They find useful insights, but nobody uses them because of this skepticism. So then executives just go back to making decisions based on, well, gut instinct.
Ugh, that must be incredibly demoralizing for the data teams.
Totally. It shows trust isn't just about fixing the tech, it's deeply human. It needs communication, understanding.
And this isn't the same everywhere, is it? The report found differences across regions.
That's right. Yeah, some interesting variations. It seems like East Asian markets are generally maybe a bit more accepting or tolerant of AI systems currently.
Hmm?
Whereas in Europe, especially places like France and Germany, there's noticeably more skepticism.
Hmm.
And here in the U.S., a significant chunk, 35% of workers, are actively avoiding generative AI altogether.
35% just won't touch it.
Right. And these differences, they really underscore how things like regulation matter. Europe's GDPR, the new AI rules come out there. That context definitely shapes how people view and trust these systems. Adds another layer.
Okay, so it's complex, it's widespread, people are skeptical. What's the way out? We've mapped the problems. What about solutions? The report talks about a transparency imperative.
Yes, exactly. Transparency is key.
Workers are saying loud and clear they need to understand how AI uses data. Like 82% said accurate data is critical for trust. And 78% pointed to needing complete holistic data sets, not just bits and pieces.
That makes sense.
And this is where things like explainable AI or XAI come in, right? Systems that can actually show their work, explain how they reached a decision, what data they used.
Precisely. That ability to explain is huge for building confidence.
And on the tech side, there's also buzz around privacy-enhancing technologies, PTs.
Yes, PTs are really promising. Things like federated learning. That lets you train models on data spread across different places without bringing all the raw data together.
Okay.
And differential privacy, which adds sort of statistical noise, to protect individual identities when you're looking at group data.
So it's about being open and protecting privacy simultaneously.
Exactly. Show your work, protect the data. That's how you start rebuilding trust.
But there's another twist, isn't there? This executive paradox the report mentions. It sounds counterintuitive.
It really is. It's fascinating and maybe a bit worrying. So despite everything we've said about falling trust overall, among U.S. executives who use generative AI daily, 63% say their confidence in it is actually growing.
Growing,
Yeah.
even with all these issues.
Growing. And 38% say they're willing to trust AI for actual business decisions.
Okay, that feels like a major disconnect from what the data teams and workers are experiencing.
It's a huge disconnect. The report calls it a paradox, but you could also call it like a ticking time bomb. You've got executives focusing on the potential upside, the efficiency gains they think they're seeing, while their own data teams are down in the trenches battling these fundamental data quality and governance fires.
Right.
If they don't bridge that gap, executives could end up making big calls based on AI outputs they assume are solid. But the reality underneath is shaky, unreliable, that could lead to serious mistakes, and ultimately an even bigger crash in trust later on.
Wow. Okay, so for the data engineering teams listening, the ones actually facing this daily reality, what are the practical things, the actionable steps they can take to start fixing this, to rebuild that trust?
Yeah, the report lays out several key strategies, very practical stuff. First, implement really thorough data lineage tracking. People need to see exactly how data moves, from source to AI output. Transparency builds confidence.
Okay, lineage tracking. Got it.
Second, set up automated data quality monitoring. You just can't do this manually anymore, not with AI. You need systems constantly checking data health.
Automation is key. Makes sense.
Third, develop clear ways to communicate. Talk to the business side about what the data can and, just as importantly, cannot do. Set realistic expectations about the AI.
Manage expectations. Crucial.
Fourth, invest in those privacy-enhancing technologies we mentioned. Address the privacy worries head-on while still enabling innovation.
ETTs, right.
And finally, fifth, build governance frameworks specifically for AI. Don't just try to stretch the old rules. You need governance designed for these new AI workloads.
Tailored governance.
Exactly. These aren't just quick fixes, They're fundamental shifts needed to build AI systems you can actually rely on.
What a fascinating deep dive into a really knotty issue. I think the big message coming through from the source materials is just how complex this relationship is between Gen AI and data trust. It's clearly still evolving. And while AI has definitely, put a spotlight on existing data problems, maybe even made some worse, it also creates huge opportunities, but only if organizations are willing to actually invest in getting those foundations right, the things you just listed.
Absolutely. It's not a simple blame game. It's dynamic. And the really profound point, I think, is that trust, especially here, isn't just a technical issue you solve once. It's like a relationship. You have to keep working on it, nurturing it. That means ongoing investment in quality data, solid governance, and maybe most importantly, just being open and honest about what AI can realistically do and what its limits are.
Hmm. Continuous effort, not a one-off fix. So here's something to leave everyone thinking about. The evidence seems pretty clear. Gen AI has shaken data trust. We see the numbers, and yet executives seem to be getting more confident even while their data teams are struggling with these core issues. What does that tension, that disconnect mean for your future use of AI? How you rely on its insights? And maybe bigger picture, how might this reshape business trust itself in a world increasingly driven by AI? Definitely something to mull over. We'll be back with another deep dive soon.